Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back another video day, and today I'm going to be talking about why the Detroit Pistons are going to shock the entire NBA next season. I am excited for this Detroit Pistons team this upcoming season. I thought that this Pistons team last year would be a little bit improved, mainly because I really love the addition of Monte Williams, but Monte really wasn't able to change the way Detroit play. They really were still terrible. I also, liked a couple of the other veteran additions they made, like bringing in Joe Harris and also Monte Morris, and made a couple other solid moves throughout the off season. And I had some hope in them, and they started off solid, but then they just went downhill after that. Finished the season 14-68. But this offseason, they've really been making some big moves. And I'm going to go over these moves that they've been making that I really love. And yeah, first what they did was bringing in JB Bickerstaff, which I don't think JB Bickerstaff is as good as a head coach to coach, as just comparing of accomplishments and what the two guys have done. I would take Monte Williams over JB Bickerstaff, but as of to coach a young team that needs to improve and have a good leader to help them improve, I'd rather have JB Bickerstaff coaching a young team and helping them throughout the next couple of years as they try to get better over the years. I think Monte Williams is more fit to coach a Phoenix Suns team who he had in the NBA Finals. I'm not saying like he'd be more fit going back to the Suns. What I'm saying is that he's more fit to coach a complete team that's ready to compete, not a team that needs help and needs growth. I know he was solid with Phoenix and helping them grow a little bit, but I think Monte Williams is more fit to coach a more developed team that's ready to win. But as for JB Bickerstaff, I think he'll be great with these young guys. Now let's talk about the player additions they've made. They drafted Ron Holland, who I'm not a big fan of just because of the fact that he's not a great shooter, but he's a solid defender. I think he should be solid off the bench. But the bigger additions, they trade for Tim Hardaway Jr. The contract is terrible, but outside of that, this is a guy who's a great three-point shooter. He's not just a great three-point shooter, he's a good scorer. He's going to be a great addition off the bench. He's someone who averaged 15 points per game with Dallas. I think he's going to be huge for Detroit off the bench. Next, they signed Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris gets a lot of hate, but for someone who averaged 17 points per game and 7 rebounds per game, as the third best player on a Philadelphia 76ers team, next to Embiid and Maxey, I think Tobias Harris is the second best player on this Pistons team next to Cade Cunningham. I think they have nice young pieces next to Cade Cunningham, but there is nobody on this roster besides Cade Cunningham that is currently better than Tobias Harris. So Tobias Harris' numbers are going to be better, and he's going to get more chances to do good things. And if he averaged 17 and 7, on a 76ers team who definitely has 2 stars already, playing with Cade, I could see Tobias Harris averaging like 20 to 22 points per game with like 8 rebounds per game, 8 rebounds per game. So you add in Tobias Harris, you add in Ron Holland and Tim Hardaway Jr. That's not it. Today they brought in Malik Beasley, signing him to a 1-year, $6 million deal. I mean, Malik Beasley is someone who shot 41% from 3 this season. If you notice, all these additions, or most of these additions outside of the Ron Holland draft pick, are them making additions to improve their three-point shooting. Malik Beasley is an excellent three-point shooter. Just had his best three-point shooting season with Milwaukee, shooting 41.3% on 11.3 points per game. He's someone with Minnesota who averaged nearly 20 points per game in the 2021 season and 36 starts, 37 games played. In the 2021-22 season with Minnesota, averaged 12.1 points per game. 22-23 season with Utah and LA, averaging 13 points per game. So he's a good scorer. He's a great three-point shooter. In his career from 3 with Utah, Milwaukee, LA, and Minnesota and Denver, in his career from 3 has shot 38.5%. You want to go to the other addition, and Tim Hardaway Jr., who they added in, who we can talk about. With Tim Hardaway Jr., who they bring in, via trade, giving up Quentin Grimes. And also in that trade, keep in mind, they did get draft picks. They got like 3 second-round picks with Hardaway Jr. Hardaway Jr. in his career with New York, Atlanta, and Dallas has shot 36% from three. And this past season, shot 35%. Season before that, 39%. Has averaged 14 points per game in his career as well, averaging 14.5 this past season. We can go to Tobias Harris as well, another good three-point shooter. Tobias Harris, this past season, in the 23-24 season from three, shot 35%, is a career three-point shooter of 37%, averaged 17 and 7 this year with 3 assists per game, 1 steal per game, 1 block per game. So Tobias Harris and Ron Holland are two guys who are coming in and improving the defense for sure. So it's not just Tobias Harris and Ron Holland. It's also Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, and then the most recent one is them bringing back Simone Fedacheko. I'm going to get to Simone Fedacheko as well. He's someone they traded for at the trade deadline. They gave up a second-round pick and Kevin Knox to acquire him. He had a great season in the 23-24 season. With Utah and Detroit, he played 66 games with 43 starts, 25 minutes per game, shot 46% from the floor, 40.1% from three, 11 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game. He's another really solid defender who had 1 steal per game last year. So I really like them bringing him back as well on a 2-year, $16 million deal. This is a Detroit team that if they stay healthy, they have a lot of depth on their roster that I really like. I mean, you can look at like their expected potential starting lineup and bench unit. It's a very stacked roster to the point where I think if you look at the NBA standings as well, if you just look at the Eastern Conference, I think the Pistons have a chance of being the 9th or 10th seed in the Eastern Conference if they stay healthy. Your starting lineup is Cade Cunningham, Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris, Asar Thompson, and Jalen Duren. Off the bench, you have, coming off the bench, you have Jaden Ivey, you have Tim Hardaway Jr., Ron Holland, Simone Fedacheko, and Isaiah Stewart. Also, you have Marcus Sasser coming off the bench. That's a very solid roster with a lot of scoring off the bench. Great scoring off the bench. Jaden Ivey is a great scorer. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a great scorer. Same thing goes for Simone Fedacheko and Isaiah Stewart. A lot of the guys coming off the bench are guys who are able to score the basketball. Same thing with your starting lineup outside of Asar Thompson and maybe Jalen Duren. I mean, Cade Cunningham, a great scorer. Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley. So this is a Pistons team. Look, yes, they might have been the 15th seed in the Eastern Conference last year, but with the additions they've made this offseason, Tobias, Malik, Tim Hardaway Jr., Ron Holland, Simone Fedacheko, hiring J.B. Bickerstaff as the head coach, building a decent staff around him as well. I could see them jumping the following teams in the Eastern Conference. And you can take a look at everybody. The Washington Wizards, who only won 15 games last year, they've lost Deni Avdija, and they're potentially going to lose other players this offseason as well. Charlotte is a team that is never healthy. With the improvements they have brought in, I could see them being better than Charlotte as well. Toronto is a team, I don't know about Toronto, but I could see them being better than Toronto as well. This is going to be Toronto's first full season without OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. The Raptors only had 10 more wins in Detroit last year. Now they're going a full season without Pascal and OG Anunoby, and Detroit's made all these additions. Brooklyn is a team who only won 18 more games than Detroit last year, and they've lost Mikal Bridges. They're potentially going on a fire sale, looking to move Cameron Johnson, looking to move Dorian Finney-Smith, looking to move Ben Simmons, looking to move other players. So Brooklyn's going to be a lot worse than last year. Atlanta has traded away DeJounte Murray. Chicago has traded away Alex Caruso. Just lost DeMar DeRozan. They're going to lose Zach LaVine. They might trade Nikola Vucevic. You have the Bulls and the Atlanta Hawks and the Brooklyn Nets who are tearing their teams apart and getting rid of everybody. And then you have the Hornets and the Wizards who were not much better than Detroit last year. And absolutely, with what they've brought in, what Detroit's brought in this offseason, if they stay healthy, they'll absolutely be better than Washington and Charlotte. And if Chicago and Atlanta and Brooklyn keep it up with who they're getting rid of and the players they're getting out for basically nothing, in my opinion, then Detroit will be better than those teams as well. The Raptors are the only team in the Eastern Conference out of the four. If you look at the teams in the Eastern Conference, 14-9 last year, I think Detroit has the ability to be better than every single one of those teams. Toronto's the only one I don't know. I think they should be better than them, but it could be they could be better than Detroit. I look at Atlanta, I look at Chicago, I look at Brooklyn, I look at Charlotte, and I look at Washington, and with these teams falling apart and Detroit adding in pieces, I see Detroit being better than those teams next season. And looking at Toronto, I could see them being better than them next season as well. I think Detroit has a solid chance if they can stay healthy and JB Bickerstaff can lead this team right. I really think that the Pistons could finish the 9th or 10th seed, at the most the 11th or 12th seed, and be a really sneaky team in the Eastern Conference. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I'm not a Piston fan, by the way, if anybody's wondering. I'm a Rockets fan, and I know the type of jump that teams can make. Look at the Houston Rockets, my favorite team. They went 22-60 in the 22-23 season. This past season, they went 41-41, made a 22-win improvement. And if you look at the Rockets and Pistons compared to off seasons, what they've done, the Rockets added in Ime Udoka, a very experienced head coach who had experience coaching a young team. That's the same thing with JB Bickerstaff. They've added in a very young head coach who has experience with a young team like Cleveland. They've added in veterans and young players, just like the Rockets did last offseason. They've added in Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris. They've also added in Malik Beasley. But then they've added their fair share of young players with Simone Fedacheko and Ron Holland. So Detroit has made additions like the Houston Rockets did. If you make a 22-win improvement like the Houston Rockets did, so let's say the Detroit made a 22-win improvement like the Rockets did, which I don't see them doing. But if they did, that gets them to 36 wins. That makes them 36-46. In the Eastern Conference, 36-46 puts you at the 10 or 9 seed. So with that being said, I think Detroit next year could be in the area of 32 to 37 wins, in that kind of area. Let me know your thoughts on the Detroit Pistons potentially shocking the NBA next year. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and peace out.